So you want to move to Toronto, but what neighborhood should you pick? Well, in this video, we do a deep dive into the infamous Parkdale neighborhood of Toronto and give you the information you need to decide whether or not it's for you. Let's go. My name is Morgan Little. I'm a Toronto-based realtor and real estate investor. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button and the notification bell, and let's get into it. Located on the west side of Toronto, Parkdale is definitely not your typical neighborhood by any stretch of the imagination. It has a ton of character and characters who help give Parkdale its unique charm. Its relatively affordable, artsy, offbeat style and rich history attracts all kinds from young professionals to new families, as well as artists and students. Anyone who's seeking that village-type vibe, despite being in the middle of the city, will feel right at home in Parkdale. There's a definite sense of neighborhood pride amongst Parkdalians, and even though some of the OGs may not love all the yuppies who've moved into the area, there seems to be a nice harmony among its residents. And now, a history lesson. In the late 1800s, Parkdale was an elite suburb of Toronto with its large Victorian homes, making it a very prestigious place to live in, similar to, say, a Rosedale neighborhood of today.
It was actually incorporated as its own village at one point, but then in the late 1800s, it amalgamated with the city of Toronto and became Toronto's playground by the lake. But then, in the 1950s, when the Gardiner Expressway was built, it partially cut off Parkdale's alluring access to the water, which eventually drove the area into a period of decline, and it lost a lot of its original luster. So much so that in the 90s it became known as Crackdale. However, over the past 20 years, it has really emerged as an exciting and eclectic neighborhood.
Let's talk about the pros. Transportation. There are a ton of options. If you drive, access to the Gardiner Expressway is right there at Lakeshore and Jameson, where you can head east towards the DVP and up to the 401, or west to the QEW or 427 north to the airport. If transit is more your thing, there's the 504 streetcar, which runs 24/7 east and west on King. So you can head downtown and connect with the subway at St. Andrew Station or take it west to the Dundas West Station. There's also buses that run north and south on Dufferin, so you can essentially get anywhere you need to go in the city. As well, there's the GO station at Exhibition Place just south of Dufferin Gates, so if you're traveling to other parts of the GTA, this is your go-to stop. Parkdale is also extremely pedestrian friendly. You can easily walk down to the waterfront, over to Roncesvalles or High Park, or browse the shops on Queen West. Okay, now let's get into the amenities. Hospitals. You got St. Joseph's Hospital on the Queensway, right where King and Queen and Roncesvalles intersect. You also have Western Hospital at Bloor and Bathurst, and Mount Sinai, which is downtown on University, where my daughter was recently born. Food. There is no shortage of food in the area. You have unlimited restaurant options and patios at your disposal. There's really too many options to get into. That might need a whole other video on its own. Parkdale is also home of the Vegandale movement, which has turned into a pretty big multi-city festival. Shopping. Parkdale is a great place for vintage shopping. It's got unique boutiques and pop-ups and art galleries. There's really something for everyone on the renowned Queen West Strip. As far as groceries go, there are both some affordable options with two different no-frills, one at King and Jameson and one at College and Lansdowne, and a Freshco at Queen and Gladstone, as well as some higher-end options with two different metros close by and a garage in Liberty Village for organics and higher ticket items. Living in Parkdale, you also have access to many cool neighboring areas. Roncesvalles is a super hip strip with lots of restaurants and pubs and shops. It's also right next to High Park, which in the spring attracts thousands to the blooming of the cherry blossom trees. These were gifted to Toronto in 1959 by Japan for the support of the Japanese Canadian refugees after the Second World War. Fun fact.
Liberty Village is another trendy area next to Parkdale that has some great restaurants and a good life fitness. Liberty is its own little microcosm and deserves its own video as well.
Now, I can't talk about Parkdale and not mention its proximity to the water. Just a short walk down to Lake Ontario, you'll find Sunnyside Beach and pool, a yacht club, tennis courts, an outdoor gym, a bike path, and tons of green open space to relax in the summer months. It's also right next to the Canadian National Exhibition Grounds, where the C&E Festival takes place every summer. It's also where the Toronto FC and the Toronto Argonauts play, as well as a host of other festivals and events. Now let's get into housing. This one can fall onto the pro or the con list depending on where you stand. As I've mentioned, there is a very interesting mix of Victorian mansions, some of which have been converted into rooming houses, lots of mid-level single-family homes, as well as clusters of high-rise, low-rent apartment buildings run by a couple large property management companies. And as of more recently, there are a bunch of condo towers going up as Liberty Village spills over into Parkdale. Now, one of my favorite streets in all of Parkdale is Cowan Street. It's a beautiful tree-lined one-way street filled with large family homes, lots of which have been recently renovated during the pandemic. The average price of a home on Cowan or other similar streets in South Parkdale is sitting in the $2.5 to $3 million range. And as you move north above King Street, there are definitely some more modestly priced options to fit the budget of a variety of people who may be looking to purchase. Now, if you're looking to rent, Parkdale is still one of the most affordable, relatively speaking, places to rent in Toronto. Either way, I suggest using an experienced realtor who knows the area and can help whether you're looking to purchase or lease. I just happen to be one such realtor, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to give you a hand. Now, let's get into the cons. There are some areas and streets that are preferable to others, due to its history and relative affordability, you can still find some less desirables who live and hang out in the area. The McDonald's at King Street in Dufferin used to be quite the scene, but as of this recording, it's now been torn down and condos are going up, as well as kitty corner to that site. As always, using an experienced realtor is always an asset. Now, if you are looking to rent, as I mentioned, there are a few property management companies that have a monopoly on many of the high-rise apartment buildings in Parkdale. I would recommend avoiding these if possible. Toronto in general, and Parkdale more specifically, shows up pretty high on the list of places with bed bug outbreaks. Obviously, this is something you want to avoid and can by getting in a good building with good management or an apartment in one of the converted Victorian homes. Another con in the winter, which tends to be a pro in the summer, is being so close to the water. If you live in South Parkdale, it makes the temperature about 10 degrees cooler. One other related item, once a year in the city, especially in the areas closer to the water, the city gets covered in these small black midges. They don't bite and they only last a week or two and doesn't have any major effect on anything, but I find them kind of annoying, so I thought I'd mention. And last but not least is because Parkdale is so close to the C&E grounds, whenever there's a TFC game or a big festival, the traffic spills over into Parkdale and can make your life a nightmare until it subsides. As you can see, the pros far outweigh the cons here, but I thought I'd mention a few of these items that make living in Parkdale unique. If you are thinking of moving to Toronto and have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. Send me an email at morgan@torontopropertyfinder.ca. And if you have any Parkdale stories, drop them in the comments because I'd love to hear all about it. Till next time, stay well and stay hungry.